Carl and Liam here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's getting Goosebumps as we're up to the 7th episode of season 3 of the Goosebumps TV series, and the 51st episode overall. It is The Barking Ghost, which is taken from the original Goosebumps book series, number 32, first published in 1995. Listen, folks, going to preempt this one by simply saying this is one of the most boring, bland, nothing episodes you are going to see of the entire show, not just this season. Forgettable. I watched this last week and wrote the notes last week, and I'm already looking at them going, wait, what happened?
Yeah, I completely agree. When this episode came up, I had no idea what it was about because I just didn't remember it at all. And it's like I mentioned in previous episodes, I would take the weirdness of something like an old story or Attack of the Mutant. I would take the weirdness of those types of things over something as maybe more on the traditional side of doing something more basic and forgettable as this. I would like to at least remember it. And I think if it has elements that make it memorable, that's better than something as forgettable as this one.
Yes, I agree. It's also not helped by its positioning, because if you're watching through the season and you're looking at the episode title and you see what follows this one, you kind of just want to get through this one so you can get to the next one that follows it, because if you know your Goosebumps, you know you're in for a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Directed by William Fruet and written by Charles Lazar. The cast is Blair Slater as Cooper Holmes, Peter Costigan as Mickey Holmes, Jennifer Martini as Fergie, Rena Pauley as Mrs. Holmes, and Paul Miller as Mr. Holmes. Should be noted that Blair Slater, who plays Cooper, also played, visually, you will know him, Dan O'Dell in season 2's Night of the Living Dummy 3.
Never recognized him.
Yeah, really obviously him as well. And although we can't reference this yet because this is an episode for the future, the character of Paul Miller, the actor Paul Miller doing the character of Mr. Holmes, he plays Dr. Harold Deep in season 4's Deep Trouble. So we get to that reoccurring character there.
Oh, cool.
But we're not there yet.
Not yet.
Right, let's get this boring episode out of the way. We begin at night and it's a full moon. Two pirates are running through the woods, seemingly being chased and desperate to hide some gold. First off, love the voice of the pirates. They've gone for the most generic piratey, where will we hide the gold? And this is like, oh, god damn it.
Not a good start.
No. One suggests they hide in a hollowed out tree, but the other calls it the changing tree. And you might as well switch off there, because if that's the level of imagination we've got, the changing tree. And that's no other imagining name than that, really. But he says, look, we can't hide there. That's the changing tree. What?
Are you afraid of the hangman's rope, not some old legend? We're living in the 17th century. No! Let's run! You can't run with your neck in a noose. Let go!
I mean, they're simplistic, old-timey folk. So maybe that explains it.
Maybe. They end up fighting over the bag of gold, arguing all the time, conveniently in the argument, hilariously in the argument, mentioning somehow that it's the 17th century, because that's what you do in an argument. We're having a row here, and I'm going to go, God damn it, Liam, in the year of 2022, I am furious that you have this opinion.
An important detail to let everyone be known.
They don't fucking matter. The pirates, we go, all right, 16th, 17th, 18th century. Doesn't matter what fucking century it is. It's old times.
Why not just have like the date come on the screen beforehand or something?
Yeah, you could have just done that. Just start in it. 17th century, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, some hunting dogs arrive, though, and go to attack the pirates. And they kind of do this in front of the changing tree where they're conveniently standing. And then we get some sort of transition, some sort of weird transition. Before focusing on a house, it's the Goosebumps trope. It's a house. We must focus on it. Inside, a young boy named Cooper is looking out the window at the woods outside his house. The sound of dogs barking is heard. He tells his parents, who dismiss him as being a scaredy cat. Basically, they do. They don't say that, but he might as well just be like, shut up, you pussy. That's literally how they act. Before telling him to go to bed. It is a ton of tropes in one. Good God. It's infuriating. We've got the new house trope. We've got the disbelieving parents. We've got the scaredy cat kid. It's everything in one, man. It's just too much.
Also, we literally just episode in an old story, we had two brothers where one of them was more of a scaredy cat than the other. So I can't think of a Goosebumps episode where it's ran from one to the next, where you've had a trope that's followed through from one episode to the next, and I think that's what makes it a bit more jarring for me.
Yeah, and we're not done with the tropes, folks. We're not done with the tropes, because as Cooper tries to sleep, sounds outside are freaking him out, and he is growling and looks under his bed, scared shitless by his older brother Mickey in a mask. It's an older sibling. Can you
Can't
believe
take
it?
it anymore. I can't take the siblings scaring one another anymore as the cold open. No more.
Furious, Cooper gets up and the pair fight. Mr. Home comes in exhausted. He tells him to stop and Mickey leaves. Although I did really hate the fact that he does that bad parenting thing of where, rather than being like, Mickey, what the fuck are you doing in his bedroom with a mask on? He's all like, Cooper, just shut up and get in bed, and you, Mickey, you leave. It's like, no, Mickey takes all the blame here.
Goosebumps parents suck. So bad.
Alone again, Cooper just can't get used to the dogs barking outside. The next day, Mickey is pumping weights outside because he's that kind of guy. And he mocks Cooper. He then sees Cooper looking for something outside. Cooper is looking for paw prints so he can prove the dogs are real. And Mickey mocks him as he heads into the woods. As Cooper looks around, he hears more dogs and moves on quickly, but we see he's near the changing tree. Deeper in the woods, Cooper is freaked out by the sound of dogs and comes across a stream. He sees something glinting in the water and finds a gold coin. And as he admires it, a dog's reflection appears in the water. A really crappy effect of where it's supposed to look like his face. He then moves back into the woods as we then get Horror Tropes 101 as someone puts their hand on his shoulder. That one. But rather than turn to face her, Cooper runs off desperately and ends up falling over, turning to see a girl that was pursuing him. She now decides to speak, introducing her as Fergie, and then this episode dates itself in the most hilarious way. Fergie, like the Duchess of York. And you're like, oh, that dates,
Wow.
doesn't it?
Big mistake.
It is, because I almost forgot what year, and I was like, oh, she's going to say Fergie, like the singer from the Black Eyed Peas. That would still have dated it, but then she went Duchess of York, and I was like, good God, when did she divorce? When did her and paedophile Prince Andrew get divorced?
Yeah, but I have no clue.
It was like late 90s, early noughties.
Yeah, Goosebumps does it. It's obviously so dated in lots of ways for obvious reasons, but I think it does an okay job of not really dating itself by not having certain technologies and stuff be shown that would make it more dated and whatnot. But like little comments like that don't help, do they?
It's a pop culture reference. It literally, you should never do that shit because you will age your movie or show.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, she appears to know who he is, and she lives on the other side of the woods and saw him moving in yesterday. She then gets weirded out and declares that they have to get out of here. Cooper catches up with her and demands to know what she meant, and she says that the last people that lived in this house disappeared and he should go back from where he came from. And I'm just like, oh, this is so boring. This could be any of the ghost stories we've seen so far.
How long have you lived here? What is it?
We gotta get out of here.
Fergie! Fergie!
Let me go!
Okay, but why'd you say that? That we have to get out of here?
The last family that lived in your house, well, one day they were just gone. All their clothes and stuff were still there. There was food in the fridge. There was even a pot of chili cooking on the stove. But no sign of the people or their dogs.
Definitely. Really, really slow paced and boring episode, but I think it's like you said, you as a fan of Goosebumps, you know what's coming next, so you want to get there.
Yeah, and I kind of want to get through this episode as well, so I'm going to keep flying through it. She leaves, but Cooper gives chase, losing her and coming across a pair of aggressive dogs. At least they actually use dogs. It's not CGI, it's dogs, trained dogs.
And to be fair, I thought the dogs themselves were actually doing really good acting. Good job, dogs.
Yeah, because he runs and the dogs chase, but he makes it back to his garden.
Well trained.
He runs into his dad begging for help, but the dogs are gone. And obviously his dad's like, oh yeah, there were some dogs. But then Cooper makes it all worse by rather than being like, no, I was chased by dogs, which could be believable. He goes, the woods are haunted. And I was like, you fucking idiot. Now you just ruined it. Like, clearly they weren't ghost dogs. Clearly they weren't.
Clearly.
That night, we see the house is being watched from the POV of a dog. In bed, Cooper hears it and the sound of stuff smashing downstairs. So he grabs his baseball bat and goes out of his room. Apparently, nobody else heard this in the house. Heading down the stairs, the noises continue, and when he turns on the light, he finds a bit of a mess. He initially thinks it was Mickey, but that changes when one of the dogs comes out of the shadows. And like, bear in mind, everyone else is in this house, apparently. Well, no, sorry, Mickey's in this house. And this dog has bloodlust. So Cooper backs off and the other arrives. The two dogs slowly approach him. And at this point, I'm like, where the fuck are the parents? Apparently, they're out. Cooper then calls for Mickey, and the two dogs run, jumping through the wall, confirming now that they're supernatural. Why they ran away now, I have no clue.
Mickey!
No idea.
Mickey then arrives and thinks Cooper made the mess. He makes fun of him as Cooper insists that the dogs did it. Yeah, so it's the same crap we've seen before. I don't believe you, I don't believe you. Bet something's going to happen soon that'll make him believe.
He's almost literally crying wolf.
Yeah, nice. The next day, Cooper is glum and throwing rocks in the woods. Fergie arrives and Mickey thanks her for doing her part. She says that she shouldn't have told Cooper that story before going over to him. So it appears that she was doing Mickey a favor for some reason and winding Cooper up, which I thought was really fucking weird considering they're new in it. So she met Mickey and instantly agreed to tease or scare his younger brother. And I'm like, well, that just makes you a little bitch, doesn't it? It does.
You said it.
She apologized to Cooper and says that she was tricked into playing a practical joke. You fucking liar! Outraged. Lying, man. Cooper tries to play it all manly, though, saying that Story didn't scare him, the dogs did, and recants his experience with the dogs. She apparently just believes him. She's like, yeah, cool, sure, why not? Right, okay. And again, I guess they're trying to lead us to believe that she might know something, because they've done that a bazillion times in the past as well.
Yeah.
And then Cooper insists that he has to prove they're real. And she then suggests that they should go back to the woods tonight and find them. I'm like, well, that is a terrible idea. Dark, trying to find the dogs? Why? Why dark? Why the night?
You could ask that question for like thousands of horror movies. Why do it at nighttime of all times? That's when all the ghoulish shit comes out, man. That's when all the bad stuff happens.
But logically, it makes sense here. Logically, it makes sense. If you're looking for a pair of dogs to prove something, first off, how, if you find them, are you going to prove it? Go get yourself a fucking camera. I'm going to take a picture of the dogs. I'm going to do it during the day when I can visibly see them, when they might not be.
Don't they have like black coats as well?
Yep.
The dogs. Yes, good luck seeing that in the dark as well. You know.
Anyway, Cooper agrees, and we cut to night, and Cooper goes out to meet Fergie. Bad parents don't care that Cooper's going out to the woods at night. They meet up, but are scared already by the sound of a dog howling. And I'm just like, what did you think was going to
expect?
They make their way into the woods, coming across one of the dogs growling. They're then backed up into the other, and the dogs get hold of them, effectively dragging and leading them to the changing tree. Again, you said already, good acting by the dogs. They sort of do grab hold of their clothing and sort of pull them along. It's well done stuff.
Get away!
I think they want us to go with them.
No way!
I don't think we have any choice.
Calmer now. Cooper and Fergie follow one of the dogs to the entrance, but the other pushes them from behind and they fall in, finding themselves in a pit. Inside, the pirates from the start to speak, and apparently they're the dogs. Put it all together, the changing tree, the dogs attack them, they change into the dogs, and blah, 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 yeah. But that suggests this, though. That means 2 dogs got hanged at the start of the episode. Because it means the pirates' bodies got taken over by the dogs, wouldn't have known what was going on, would have been captured, and then hung for piracy. That's really horrible.
Yeah, that's a darker element they kind of brush past, but it's true. You're right.
Yeah, the pirates then recount the story of what happened to them, leaving out the part about them being villains, and it seems as though the plan is to change places with the kids. We then get that same weird effect, and sometime after, it's now light, we see that Cooper and Fergie are dogs. So you see the dogs, but the voice is just a voiceover. They do realize what's happened to them, but they are able to communicate, apparently able to communicate via psychic abilities.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's what dogs do, I suppose.
Whatever, you know.
What's happening to us?
The dogs!
How did you say that? Your lips weren't moving.
I don't have any lips. You mean we can read each other's thoughts?
I think so. What am I thinking now?
Chicken salad, chicken pot pie, chicken wings.
Fergie, what are we gonna do? We're dogs!
I was just really glad they didn't add some kind of terrible looking effect where the dog's mouth was moving. I think maybe they were gonna do that, and it just looked so awful. There's like, just have them communicate telepathically. That's the way to go about it.
I would have preferred it because at least it would give me something to enjoy, laugh at, and be like, "That's so stupid." Like, you know, like annoying Orange style with the mouth like that. The episode with the faces on the back of the heads. That's
true. They could have done that, and I think maybe that episode made them decide against it.
But we do get some, at least, amusement here as we see the pirates in the bodies of the kids having dinners with the Cooper's family and behaving like wild animals. They look feral, and they're behaving, and the rest of the family just sitting there like, "The fuck's wrong with our kids?" I did at least get a chuckle out of that.
This is the first time the parents have actually noticed anything, so well done to them. The fact that they noticed, I would be more expecting the kids to act that way, and the parents just to be like, "How was your day?" Like, not even noticing at all. And also, to be fair, I thought the actors playing the kids, actually were doing a pretty good job overall. So, not that
I agree. You know, I will tie into bad parenting because no point does the adults go, "Why do you look like you've been dragged through bushes?"
Yeah,
like you are filthy, your hair's unkempt.
They're not asking enough questions.
Yes, they're not asking enough questions.
Cooper, Fergie, what have you been doing? You're filthy. And use your forks.
Cooper and Fergie, as the dogs, see them from outside, and the doggy side takes over because they're hungry and they burst in scaring the family. I feel like that would have been a really cool in a longer episode to develop the idea that slowly but surely the sort of dog part of them takes over their minds almost to a certain degree. I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah, rather than like a quick transition to now they are just being body snatched basically by these dogs. Like you said, maybe more of like a slow possession type thing, but nah.
Mr. Holmes tries to get rid of them with the broom, and Mickey starts calling the pound. The dogs run out, and possessed Cooper and Fergie give chase. And this baffled me. Is they're like, "Oh no, we're going to go after them." Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it just felt like this is the only way they could possibly steamroll towards the obvious conclusion, the end, because like it doesn't make any logical sense at all.
Agreed. Followed by Mickey, though. In the woods, the dogs hide behind the log near the changing tree. Right near the entrance, Mickey hears a sound, and it's a chipmunk. Important that, because they focus on the chipmunk now, and notices dog prints in the mud. Cooper and Fergie go to look, giving the dogs a chance to run at them, and they slam into them, obviously falling into the tree, and we see the transition again. So right at the end here. Shortly after, the proper Cooper and Fergie come out, followed by Mickey, who is behaving really weird. And as they head off, we see that he swapped bodies with the chipmunk, and that is the end. So we get a kind of silly little ending as well. One that raises a lot of questions, but one I was at least glad came along, and it was at least mildly entertaining because of the adult Mickey pretending to be a chipmunk. And that made me laugh.
Hey, Cooper, you weasel. Don't leave me here. What am I gonna do? You gotta help me, Cooper. This isn't funny anymore.
He's pretty good at that, doing that chipmunk.
Yes.
So there's that. Yeah, just I think when we do the tier list of Goosebumps, this is going to be quite a lowly rated one. At first, I thought maybe it was a nice return to like a more serious tone because we've had quite a lot of crazy weirdness has come beforehand. So it was a nice change of pace at first, even though it was a bit slow and boring. But then as it gets deeper and deeper into the episode, it ended up being as, if not maybe even more goofy and silly than the episodes that had come before. And it's just so slow paced and boring. And I always remember Goosebumps episodes, but this one just couldn't tell you what happened beforehand. So I think that says a lot for me as well.
It's boring. That's my biggest sort of criticism of it, is that it's intensely boring more than anything else. When I look back at it, I'm like, what was I really entertained by? I ended up realizing that putting things in my head about the episode was more entertaining. Like, for example, the ending. I am convinced that what Cooper and whatever her name is, I've forgotten her name already, Cooper and Fergie did when they came out of the changing 3 at the end, because I'm like, well, where are the dogs? Where are the pirates? They're just back in the dogs, right? Right? No, they didn't. They bludgeoned the dogs to death inside. Of course they did.
Yeah. Well, where else are they? I mean, that's the only explanation.
Absolutely. Plus, I like the idea that they'll never be able to rescue Mickey, because that chipmunk that he's in will just effectively disappear, right?
Yeah, they're never going to find it. And they do actually play a really silly remixed version of the Goosebumps theme while he's, moving around like a chipmunk and whatnot. And yeah, just terrible ending. Terrible episode.
It is one to forget.
I think we maybe just like the tropes and things like that are just like, it's ground us down a bit, man. It's ground us down. And this is the episode where it's the straw that broke the camel's back, or whatever, however the saying goes. And that's it.
The problem is we can live with. I feel like we can live with the tropes, provided we get something unique in it. This does nothing unique and utilizes almost every single trope we've experienced to date. It's all jammed into one, and in a 20-minute episode, it's just too much. At least with season 3, Shocker on Sock Street, My Best Friend is Invisible, The House No Return, Don't Go to Sleep, Click, An Old Story, what we've done up to date. The variety in each of those episodes is really cool. I feel like The Barking Ghost could have come from season 1. That's how generic it is when you go back to that traditional style of Goosebumps stuff.
Yeah. And what is R.L. Stein's obsession with having people getting turned into dogs? He's done that a few times now. He seems to have an obsession with it.
He does indeed. Listen, this is The Barking Ghost. We don't like it. Do you? You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?